place I grew up in is the valley, Crooked Creek Valley, between Crane Hill and Jones Chapel. And it runs, you know, snakes around, and that was where I was born, and that's where I grew up. And Crooked Creek is where we played, we swam in, fished in, and I knew that thoroughly from one end of the valley to the other, you know. So yeah, that's in Lick Creek that runs into Crooked Creek. Where I was born was practically at the forks of Lick Creek over here in Crooked Creek. It completely surrounded the place. Yeah, I've spent a lot of time with my camera. I've been up and down the place. It's a beautiful place in the fall, especially with you have big tall bluffs. I joined the Navy at the age of 17. I've just turned 17. You could do that in those days because they were hard up for men. That was right after World War II, and most people had already left the service. They didn't want any more part of that. And the first ship I served on was an icebreaker. It had just become commissioned just 2 or 3 years prior to that. The first icebreaker that the Navy had. And I had several adventures on. That was my choice of all the sea duty I had. I've served on 7 ships during my naval career, but I enjoyed that duty on the icebreaker more so than any place because of the nature of what it did. It did mostly survey work that had never been done before up in Greenland, Iceland, in the Canadian Northwest Territories, and the Antarctic. What I did mostly in the military was not conducive to any civilian job. You know, it was mostly military stuff. But I took a correspondence course with that thing that used to be published in all the magazines, that National Correspondence Course, in sign painting before I got out, because that's really what I wanted. I wanted to make a living, you know, with a brush.
I began working with Mr. Sharpton a little over 4 years ago when the president of our college discovered that we had many of his paintings that were not framed. We restored the black and white photographs, and in the meantime we got all of the oils framed and began placing those out on campus. Since we've moved out of the Bailey building, we've kind of consolidated those into one spot, even though some of those are in offices around our campus. He has done approximately 150 paintings for the college. These oils do belong to the college, and we're so proud of them.
A lot of the paintings, and I hope students will go by and look at these paintings, depict the history of Coleman County, and it's a history that people don't get to see in books or descriptions or magazines. This is Coleman County as it was 50, 60, 100 years ago. In these paintings I've been able to see what the old courthouse looked like, what the train station looked like, what the pioneers must have faced as they made homes out of the wilderness in what was Coleman County at that time. And I would love for students to be able to see those and see what our history is like. A lot of times we don't think about our history of the area we live in. We think about European history, and we're here to study the history of other areas. We need to remember that our Coleman County has a rich and wonderful history too, and Mr. Sharpton has done so much to save our heritage and to present the heritage in a very beautiful way.
I would hope that students and viewers of this exhibition, as they look at Mr. Sharpton's body of work, draw inspiration of a life committed to not only the visual arts but also to education. This artwork in film and in paint is always going to be a lasting legacy to what Mr. Sharpton has brought to Wallace State.